I was really dependent on these friends, and sometimes if I get work, I do, yeah, on and off.
So it was very casual. And was your family aware that you had stopped with your education because of the issue at the university, and now you are stranded in the UK, or you are not informing them of what was going on?
My family, I'd speak to them, but they stopped even helping me with finances, you know. So I was just
Alone.
abandoned. I was on my own, yani.
How was
kabisa,
it
yani.
being homeless in London? Were you sleeping outside like how we do here in Nairobi as addicts? Where were you getting food from? Was the government assisting you? Was your visa almost expired? Were you there illegally? What was happening?
When I was on the streets, I met some people on the streets. There are some charitable people who give out food like every day, almost every day. And then there are some places where you can go where they issue food. I've slept on the street. I've slept on the buses. Yeah, even one time after I had been kicked out of the nurses' residence. This time when I was properly homeless, they wanted to destroy the nurses' residence at St Andrew's Hospital and build a new flat. So all the students and nurses there moved out. But I knew the security code to enter inside.
Oh, clever. So you found a place to sleep. Where they had kicked you out, you found a way to get in.
Yeah, so I said one day, let me try, because I can remember the code offhand. I still remember it now. It was 72946. So I went there. I found many rooms there with mattresses. So I slept there for a while.
Wow.
Could have a shower there in the showers and so on.
How did you find your way back to Kenya? How did you return to Kenya?
What happened on the street one day, by God's grace, I was just with another homeless person. Then then one person who was living at a certain housing cooperative called Lndn Housing Cooperative. His name was Selwyn Goddard from Barbados. He said, "You guys are homeless. You can come and sleep at my place." He gave us some food. Then my visa was still valid at the time. So, and I had my passport. So he said, "You can just apply at the office here and they will give you a room." So I applied and I got a room there and I came off the street, thank God.
Wow.
Finally, just by God's grace, just someone I met randomly on the street, you know.
Strangers, for people like us, strangers actually help you more than people you know and your family. You know that? They have more understanding. So when did the addiction start? When did your alcoholism start?
I started, my first alcohol was, my dad used to have my dad used to drink a lot, and sometimes he'd have wine in the house or Johnny Walker when we were very, very, very young. But my first taste was when I was very young, but just a small taste. And I didn't even like it. I really didn't like it. So I just tasted it once. It burnt my mouth. Is it Johnny Walker? Yeah, and the beer. Then I said, this thing, I don't know why these people like it so much.
But because you saw your father drinking,
Yeah.
and it seems like you have it in your system also genetically, you wanted to try this thing. You were very curious.
Of
because
course.
when you see your father drinking it, he's happy or something happens.
you know,
There's a change.
Yeah, I was very curious. in fact, when I entered high school, some of my neighbors in Nairobi West, some of them had started drinking, so I started with. I had my first beer with them. Then they started going to clubs, carnival, and so on. So then during holidays, maybe once in a while, I go to the club. Yeah, Super Soul and so on. Those days. Yeah.
What were you drinking at that time? What was your alcoholic beverage?
That time I was drinking. First I started with Tusker. Then I started with then Pilsner. Then I started drinking Safari Cane also. And then also some of my neighbors also introduced me to marijuana. Yeah, so
it started with going out on the weekends. You would go to carnival on the weekend. You'd only drink on the weekend.
Yeah.
When did you start losing control? Was it before you went to the UK, or was it after you went to the UK when you lost control completely and you had to drink every day, and you moved from drinking Tuskers and beers and now entered drinking Safari Cane and hard drinks? How did that transition happen?
Okay, I started drinking beers and then Safari Cane and so on, and then also some weed with my friends or associates. Then I got a job at Nyayo House. So the drinking.
Sorry to interrupt. This is after you come back from the UK?
No.
Before, all right.
This was before. So the drinking continued. Yeah, and then
you started losing control. Tell me how. Were you getting late to go to work? Were you spending all the money on the alcohol? Were you unable to take care of your environment, make your bed?
Yeah.
You were not eating?
Yeah. I started getting late, late for work, drinking too much, oversleeping, hangovers, and so on. Yeah, and then I noticed that it was that I was starting to lose control. Yeah, and step by step I was slowly starting to lose control. And then I noticed that I developed a very strong liking for alcohol. That this time when I used to wait until the weekends, this time I couldn't wait. Now it was just whether it is Monday or Sunday. I mean Monday or I just started drinking too much. And then when I went to the UK, I was still drinking. But then when I became homeless, that was now when now drink now became totally. That is when
you just surrendered to the alcohol. You just dove in head first.
I dove in head first. I used to drink. When I get up, I don't think of food. I don't even want food. I want to drink. So I go for spirits.
And the money, where were you getting the money? Were you begging in the UK? Were you stealing? Were you robbing? How were you getting the money for the alcohol?
I was begging.
Good. It's okay. I used to beg. I used to go all the way to Gong Road here, Hurlingham. You know, the worst is when people abuse you. I would enter a shop and I would explain it. So, talk about taka. It's so painful when somebody rejects you.
Insults you and
Good.
rejects you,
That's why yesterday when I saw you, I had to stop, because sometimes you'll put somebody jumps.
Yeah.
It's like
they
you want
think
to rob them.
You are not a human being.
Good, you're
Or
treated
you want
like
to rob them.
trash.
You're treated like trash, like rubbish, man.
Absolute trash. Even if
know?
you try talking with a calm voice, you find
Politely.
somebody. It's so painful. There's so much shame. There's so much guilt that goes on to begging.
Rejection.
People think when somebody begs, oh mutu ni fala, naomba pesa enda afanye kazi. There is no kazi. And we are in this country together with you.
Yeah.
And we are educated to some extent. Where are the jobs?
Yeah.
So you'll have to resort to that. So
Yeah.
now the drinking has become serious, and I can imagine because you have so much emotional pain at the time.
Yeah.
Your education has stopped.
Yeah.
You've been rejected by the people you assume are your
My
close
family.
friends. You've been rejected by your family.
Till today.
Till today. You're in a strange country, a strange environment. You do not know where you're going. You
Yeah.
are completely lost. So the alcohol, at least, what did it do for you? What did it do for you when you drink? Was it just oblivion? You just forget everything, or would it allow you to sleep? Was it curing something?
The alcohol would numb the pain. And then after I drink, after I've had some beers and it's in the system, or some spirits, then I feel calm. I feel like now I'm a normal person now. I feel like I can now talk to people. I feel like my problems are not there anymore. For that moment, I can escape the issues disturbing me,
The pain.
and I can relax. You know, inside, I can chill out and relax. You know, yeah, because there's so much.
Gives you confidence, the anxiety goes away, you forget the pain. It cures, by the way. When you talk about drugs, people use drugs because they cure something.
Exactly, it cures them emotionally, psychologically,
everything.
Yeah.
But then the
it
problem
touches.
is when ishuke. Now when the alcohol is over, the problems are even worse.
Exactly.
You are more ashamed and more embarrassed. And
Yeah.
so you have to keep drinking to keep killing that pain.
Yeah.
So now we moved on to